No coughing. Okay, we are live. It's the Down Beach Buzz podcast for December 5, 2024 with Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp Realty. All things real estate, commercial, residential. Reach out to Sherry Lilienfeld at realtysherry.com, her new website domain name. Also, Paul Scollage, he's back. He was either doing deep sea fishing or he's just closing deals left and right. Couldn't find time, but it's great to have Paul Scollage back from rate.com. Buy a home, refinance, rate quote, whether you're in the Philly area or down in the Brigantine, Down Beach, Jersey Shore area. Paul's everywhere for you. Go to rate.com. Why don't we jump into the mortgage rates right now, Paul? And what is the latest? I guess we always start out with, give me the best rate for a 30-year mortgage, somebody with great credit. Let's start with that number first and then go from there, Paul.
Sure. I was definitely catching bluefin tuna for the last 2.5 months, though. So it's been very good, this fishery. So stripers are here as well. Rates of the validity in the market is probably the craziest I have seen since I started in this business back in 2008. Right now, today on a 30-year fixed mortgage, 780 credit score, you're looking at about 6.5% to 6.375. Long-term projection is the Fed has cut rates in November. There's about a 78% chance that they're going to cut in December. And further on, there's going to be multiple cuts as we get into next year. I think the misconception is everyone sees that the Fed cuts rates and automatically, the mortgage rates are going to go down. Mortgage rates are going to go down. That's not accurate. What that does, it impacts car loans, home equity loans, credit card loans. They're the ones that are impacted fairly quickly. What we see in the rate cut has already been impacted in what we're seeing today. So the November cut has already been embedded into the October rates that we've seen. So November cut, December cut. We have seen a gradual decrease in rates over the last probably 2 weeks, which has been really good. So I think long-term projections, we will get rates into the sixes, into the low upper fives as we get into the 2025 season. I expect our spring market to be great. I think the big question that we have right now is the lack of inventory. I think it's across all markets, whether it's the shore market, whether it's the home market and your primary residence. But I think we just need more inventory. And I get back to the same thing all the time is why would a seller want to sell when they have a rate of 3.5% on a 30-year fixed? They want to go buy a new house. They're going to be in a house that's same size or bigger or even smaller, but their payment's going to be higher because where the rates are. So we need the rates to come down. We need more inventory in the market. And I'm hoping that we'll have a really strong push for our 2025 full year.
Any thoughts on that, Cher, in regards to how a real estate agent such as yourself, a real estate broker, deals with the ever-changing real estate mortgage and finance market?
No, but I totally agree what Paul was saying about we need more inventory. We're down in Margate to 47 houses, which is low. Normally we're like in the 60s. But the other thing about it is it's been really slow. And people asking me, well, that have their homes listed, like, what should I do? And unfortunately, it's been really slow because it's an election year, and traditionally an election year, people like sit and they wait because they want to see what's going to happen with the election. And then you get into the holidays, you're into Thanksgiving. We just had Thanksgiving and then Christmas. I do expect the beginning of the year, things are really going to start heating up. That there'll be more houses coming on the market and then more buyers coming out after the holidays. So totally in agreement with Paul. Definitely want to see those rates come down a bit. And we definitely need more inventory. And when I say more inventory that's priced appropriately. Even though it's a low inventory market, people are not going to they're not going to overpay. I'm not seeing that for the shore homes. But Paul, what do you say about that? Yeah.
I'll give you a quick statistic, and I know it's up in Pennsylvania, but Montgomery County in 2018, 19, and 20 averaged 55 homes on the market for sale. Right now, we're down to 500. Okay, so that just goes to show you the big difference of what we've seen in the past to what we're seeing today. And I always encourage people, the key here is, well, the they want to wait to purchase a property because interest rates are going to go down. That's absolutely accurate. However, with a higher rate today, you have less competition. Okay. Everyone else wants to wait and see if rates are going to get better, and they will get better mid next year, maybe the end of next year. But if you can buy today at a higher rate with less competition, knowing that you have the ability to refinance out of this loan at any given point, buy today, less competition, especially during the winter months. I think there's less competition as well. So, maybe you get your price point that you're looking at. Maybe you can do a home inspection. Maybe you can do all the things that are typically normal in a normal market, right? So don't be afraid of a rate that's, sitting at around 6.5 or 6.875. Know the fact that you will refinance out of that loan in the next 12 or 14 months. I hate the term, was it marry the house and date the rate? That was the old saying that was going back on. But yes, unfortunately, that is true.
I totally agree, because it is very slow now. The market's slow. So yes, if a buyer comes along, you were asking me earlier, what would you tell a buyer now? I would tell them like what Paul's saying, like, now's the time to come out and buy when people aren't expecting you, when it is really slow, when you can have a reasonable negotiation, like Paul is saying, get some of the things that you want, because it has been super, super slow. Only in the last 30 days, only 4 homes went under contract in Margate. So yeah, come on out, buy now. Use Paul, because he has a great refinancing program where a lot of the fees are way down. Paul, you can explain that, your refinancing program. But yeah, buy now. Now would be a great time, and I'm happy to take people out during the winter break.
Yeah. What we do is, for the refinances, we will cover your lender fees for at any given point, just as long as you come back to refinance with us. So on average, it's about anywhere between a $2,000 and a $2,500 savings in cost. And when you refinance in Jersey, it's actually a lot cheaper, because you're only collecting prepaids or your escrows for a 1 quarter period. So keep in mind, refinances is key. And again, don't be scared at a higher rate today, knowing that you're going to get out of it at some point next year.
All right, guys, could I stir the pot a little bit?
Sure, let's go. Giddy up.
Can I throw a haymaker into this little lovely conversation? So it's the Down Beach Buzz podcast with Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp Realty. She's a broker. She's a realtor. She knows everything about the Down Beach area with real estate, especially on the commercial side, residential side, even environmental concerns. And that happens a lot now when you build here along the shore. Environment and concerns and all kinds of crazy contamination or runoff issues. Sherry has an expertise in that. Reach out to her at realtysherry.com. And Paul Scollage from rate.com, he's the man when it comes to monetary policy, when you're trying to buy a home or sell a home or whatever the case may be, real estate related financing. So here's the pot stirrer. So the lack of inventory, we've been hearing that. I get nauseous when I hear everybody talking about we need more inventory. Why is that not happening? Well, there's a couple different reasons why. I believe, and not just me, but just perusing the national news, people are parking their homes in real estate, specifically with not just land, but with housing. It's a good place to park your cash. And I believe people are basically maintaining zombie homes, which is certainly legal, but it keeps a lot of houses off the market. So it's like parking cash, a pretty good place to park cash. And indeed, with planning and zoning, especially in Margate or Brigantine, they're really encouraging people to knock down single-family homes and create incredibly large McMansions, which are just used 15 weekends a month, 15 weekends a summer when it gets nice and warm. So let's talk to you about that. I don't know, Sherry or Paul, the lack of inventory is due to people buying multiple homes. It's a good place to park your cash. Your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you, it's an absolute, why would you want to sell your house, right? Not everyone, most people are taking that departing residence and they're renting it out. You have a 2.5% to 3% interest rate. Instead of putting it up on the market and selling at a high number, rent it out. I mean, you're going to it's profitable day one with that low rate that you currently have. There are so many people that I've been doing loans for. Instead of putting their house up on the market and sell it, they're renting it out, right? They're going to rent it out. It doesn't make sense to sell when you can collect a influx of income, over a period, especially when you have these low rates. So that was one of the issues. But again, the lack of inventory being available is big.
How about you, Cher? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree with Paul. Like if someone can't sell, or like you said, they have a low rate, or you could get a really high amount for summer rental, winter rental, and then someone else is paying off your mortgage. Yeah, we definitely see that down here because it's so easy to rent out your home and get a really, really good number. And, I work with a lot of investors with the commercial real estate, and, every lot of high net worth people, however they made their money, they always invest in real estate. That's part of their investment portfolio is, as you said, parking your money in real estate. So it is definitely part of someone's investment portfolio is parking their money, and where better to park it than the Jersey Shore.
And of course, if you find out that there's somebody buying additional homes or units, that they get the appropriate mortgage to get, because they're going to rent it out, they're going to get commercial mortgage. And then, of course, if they need insurance, they'll get commercial insurance. That's always the case, right?
I know how you this is the pot stirring. How
No, I'm just asking a simple question that is a question that nobody wants to talk about. So what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are it's very short-sighted to try to save money on, for example, your insurance. If you have a rental property and you don't get rental property insurance, which is higher, or the commercial loan, which, by the way, when you're at a closing, and Paul can verify this, you have to sign documentation that you're going to use that property yourself, that, that it's not an investment. And Paul could be more specific on that.
Oh,
but
there is disclosure, fine print on the closing day, huh?
Absolutely. You have to occupy the property as your primary residence within 60 days from the time that you make settlement.
But there is no real way of enforcing that. It's just Scout's honor.
No, there is. If
Okay.
an investor feels that the application shows signs of being rented, they will send mail to that house. Mail gets denied or it gets forwarded to somewhere else. You better believe it. I've actually seen investors make borrowers, they call the note. And what that means is that the borrower that told the investor that it was going to be their primary residence and it's an investment property, they have less than 30 days to refinance that loan and pay it off and putting it into an investment property, or it starts the foreclosure process.
All right, next one. There are a lot of layoffs going on around the country, even big stuff, tech, finance, mortgages, banks, downsizing. How is that affecting your business, Paul and Sherry? Is it affecting it at all, since we put a lot of focus on the second home market along the shore?
So all negative data helps interest rates. Okay. It's a shame, but obviously when things are bad and the economy's struggling, for instance, the jobless claims came out today. And I think the consensus was 166,000 and it was 231,000. That is great for interest rates. Okay. Unfortunately, it's not great for the economy that we're in. So all of the negative press, negative data that we see coming out most of the time drives interest rates down. So, for me, I like seeing it, but obviously, it's not something that is good for the economy.
And Cher, before we go to the next topic, what do you think?
I don't really see it down here. I'm curious to know, because Paul deals in like more of a primary home market in Pennsylvania and the second home market. Like it still amazes me, like how much money people have that come down here. They seem to have a lot of discretionary cash. I just haven't really seen it, but maybe that could be why there's less things moving and people were waiting till after the election. But Paul, what do you see in your two markets, your second home market and your Pennsylvania market?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before. Rates don't drive anything in the second home market. I mean, people aren't worried about rates when it comes to that point. A lot of people, one, would do a cash out refinance on the primary residence, taking all that cash. Then they're going to buy down at the shore, the second home market, in a cash environment, which is more attractive or more appealing when they're putting offers in. So I don't think rate has any impact on the second home market. Very little, if any at all. And again, there are a lot of times that, people are taking money out of their retirement. I mean, you can borrow against your retirement at probably a much lower interest rate than what's available today for second home markets. So they're using alternative methods, and they're kind of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have what's called loan level price adjustments on second homes and investments properties. I believe this changed in 2021 or 2022. There was no adjustment in rate for a primary residence to a second home up until 2021 or 2022, where that's since changed. Second home and investment properties now follow the same interest rates. It's about 3/4 to 1% higher in rate on a second home. So that's why borrowers will pull cash out of their primary residence, or they'll borrow against their investments. So as much as I want to do a ton of second homes and so forth, that number is down just because of where the current interest rates are. And the way to get around that is if you can put down 30+% on a purchase, you'll get the current rate that's available for a standard 30-day.
All right, it's the Down Beach Buzz podcast for December 5, 2024 with Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp Realty and Paul Scollage of Rate.com. One of the other downsides to a explosive real estate market along the shore is that while there's more and more expensive homes, people somewhat overpaying, just they want to grab some property along the shore. There's only so much of it. The downside is you don't have a lot of full-timers, and those full-timers, they usually become employees of local businesses. And let me give you some idea here. There's another taco place opening on Essex Avenue in Margate. They are taking over the spot. Nacho Taco is taking over the spot that Taco Cat enjoyed and kicked ass last summer. But on July 4th, they decided to shut down. And we think it was because they couldn't find enough employees. They had so much business, Taco Cat. So your thoughts, Paul and Sherry? That's the downside by having a huge real estate market for vacationers and second homeowners and investors. The downside is you kind of push out full-timers who, in most cases, they are employees for these local businesses. How do you respond to that, Sherry?
I mean, you're right. I've seen they're always looking for workers for the restaurants part-time. Yeah, and with Taco Cat, I think it was a combination of things because I did speak to the owner. Their lease was up in September, but then one of their employees was going on vacation in the middle of the summer, their main cook, their main chef or something. So they said, it doesn't make sense to bring on someone new at this point. But yeah, they were so busy. Look, even your picture, you could see they had lines up the street.
It was always lines around the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. If you can't get good, solid workers, which is a problem, then it does hurt the businesses. So,
and who has the ability, who has the power to protect long, annual or year-round residency? Who has the power in a municipality to do their best to hold on to a core of full-timers that can keep the island running in the off-season, that can actually, their kids can be employees at all these restaurants? Who really has the control of possibly solving that challenge? I know what that answer is. What do you think?
Well, the state has certain requirements for what they call affordable housing, right? Yeah. So, and Margate is not immune to that. And matter of fact, I was at the Brigantine meeting yesterday and they were talking about that, their idea for affordable housing, but they were trying to offer it to veterans, which I think is a wonderful idea. But that does help. Like when the average sale price is over $2 million, it's really hard to get full-time people that live in the area that are working jobs like in restaurants. So I think more, I don't want to say more affordable housing because there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be really angry at me. But when you ask who has the power, that is one way to keep year-round workers here, is to have housing that's available for them.
I would think that it's a local planning board that says, you can't put a 10-bedroom McMansion that you're going to use for a short-term rental in non-beach blocks. I believe they can play a role, but there's so much money to be had by ripping down, tearing down, and building massive homes. I can't blame them for going that route, but really planning and zoning should be protecting towns. Well, that's my position on that.
Yes, unfortunately, with a lot of towns, and I'm not saying this with Margate specifically, you have the people in council and the mayor, they don't have basic like city planning background, right? But you really need a really good master plan and a vision for a town if you're going to be in charge, or at least hire people that have city planning experience and come up with a good master plan. So yes, I 100% agree with you. It is up to city council and planning, but there needs to be a really good master plan in place so people have a roadmap of where they're going.
Isn't there some kind of a law or a state statute that all towns have to at least update their master plans every 10 years or maybe every 5 if something major happens? Do you think that Ventnor, Margate, and Brigantine have an up-to-date master plan? I find them hard to be found. I can't really find those documents. They're always fluid, I guess you would say.
I think they're fluid. I don't know. I can't comment. What about you, Paul? What are your thoughts?
I have no idea.
But that's a good question. That's a good question. Anyway, no, Paul,
about the affordable housing.
You have to
the
boogie.
Workers.
Yeah, I'm going to rock and roll, guys.
All right, Paul, good job. Good to see you back here.
Wait, I just want to say one thing to Paul. Yeah, so you know Paul spends a lot of time deep water fishing, but he's also been very helpful. He spotted something that was very sad. It was a dead whale. And he did send it to the appropriate authorities. Paul has his eyes out there to make sure nothing, that our sea creatures are protected appropriately. And when he sees something like that, he does reach out.
So Paul, you're out there deep sea fishing and you see a massive whale, a dead whale floating around. How many miles out was that?
So I was about 62 miles outside of Atlantic City.
62
miles. And we were on our way back in the morning, coming back home. We stayed overnight out there. On our way home, we saw something floating that didn't look right. So we came over and sure enough, unfortunately, it was a whale that was.
How far out did you notice it? How many miles from shore?
I saw it floating. I was probably 2 miles away. I saw something, from a distance, because obviously when you're looking in the water, you see different things and so forth. And sure enough, we saw something floating, and we went up to it, got a bunch of pictures, sent the location to Sherry. Also, there was some research posts in the area, so. I know that you guys Sherry asked me before, so we took pictures and sent it back, and hopefully this comes to a stop, and it's something that it's passionate to me because I just I love being on the water, right? And the last time we wanted these stinking windmills. So,
and this could be an example of there's a lot more marine life being affected or killed or maimed that never make it to shore. They never wash up because they get eaten by predators or they sink, right?
This one would have never made it back, one, because of how far off the distance it was. And unfortunately, you just said that they were eaten by predators. That was definitely something that we saw.
Yeah, that's what I really think about. Or sometimes you hear stories, conspiracy stories or theories that there are certain boats that are out there making sure that these dead whales, these dead marine mammals don't make it to shore, and they do whatever they can to have them sink or cut them up or whatever, just so there wouldn't be more photo ops on the beach of dead whales or porpoises or dolphins. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a shame. It really is a shame. And especially when you're out there. I'm on the water probably at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. And the good news is that that's the first time we've seen anything, obviously, to that degree. But being out there, all summer, and we started fishing offshore probably since April of this year. And, we finally, well, not say finally, we saw something. I think it was like the end of October is when the last trip we were out. So.
All right. Well, great. Paul Skolage from rate.com. Thanks, man. We'll talk to you soon.
See you guys later. Thank you.
Peace out. All right. Now it's Sherry and I. Let me turn it
Okay.
off here.
You're going to stir the pot again? Do you have video
Well-
to show me? I already went through the market numbers.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to say that it's kind of nice when you see that other media properties, other entities are talking about some of the same things I've been talking about, you and I've been talking about for a few years. And if you don't get other people to kind of agree or concur with you, you always get pigeonholed as a nutbag or somebody that just stirring the pot. They must be a hater. But it was good to see that the Cape May Herald, big newspaper in the Cape May County area, they've been doing a series all about municipal transparency or county transparency. It's amazing. When I read this, I go, I can't, it's almost as if they've been following us. But I have a feeling they just attached it or attacked it from their perspective. But the Cape May Herald deserves a lot of praise. Let me bring up that screen here. I'm sorry. Deserves a lot of praise for their ongoing coverage of municipal transparency issues in Cape May County. The Press of Atlantic City, now this is something that I'm writing right now. The Press of Atlantic City should follow suit in regards to Atlantic County. The Cape May Herald's doing this thing's called Government Transparency Scoreboard. And we've been doing that for a while. We've been tracking City Hall stuff for years, Margate, Ventnor, Brigantine. And, when it comes to transparency, you're familiar with this picture. Who's there? The most recent parade going through Margate. That's Kathy Horn, Commissioner Kathy Horn of Margate, and the mayor, Michael Collins of Margate. That's a nice photo of them, right? Coming through for the parade in a Lexus, right? Waving to everybody, right? Right, Shep?
Yep. Yes.
What's the one thing that's missing in this photo? And these are things that should be discussed.
Commissioner Blumberg.
Yeah, so Commissioner Maury Blumberg is not in this car. Number two, what role does he play as a commissioner in Margate? When you get a business card from Maury, what does it say?
Isn't he the in charge of finances for the city?
Finance and Revenue Commissioner.
Revenue. Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's aware of how all your money, your tax dollars are being spent? All I'm saying is that's what transparency is about. Nobody has the cojones to say, where's Maury in this picture?
I just said it.
but I'm telling you, when people talk to Collins and they don't have the wherewithal to say, why is Maury out of the loop when it comes to revenue and finance? Why is that happening? Nobody will ask that question. But Ocean City and the Cape May County officials, they're starting to ask questions. So eventually it will work its way through Margate, Brigantine, and Ventnor, where people will grow a pair and start asking really good, solid questions. So the Cape May, let me just show you exactly. Here is the front page of the Cape May County Herald. The headline reads, the board says there's no need for more transparency. Imagine there's county commissioners saying, we're very transparent. And one of the guys who's been pushing back against more transparency, more openness, is Lou Desiderio, the mayor of Sea Isle City, the great town of Sea Isle City, which I love. I think he also owns that bar and restaurant called Kicks. Mm-hmm. But it's pretty embarrassing when you have Mayor Len, saying we don't need more transparency. Well, the Cape May County Herald disagrees. They do a chart, a government meeting transparency scorecard that's right here too. This is the front page of the Herald. Press of Atlantic City won't do that. Local bloggers that used to work for the Press of Atlantic City won't do that. But DownbeachBUZZ will, because we believe that transparency provides taxpayers with insight on how their money is being spent. That's what it's all about. Imagine you not caring how your financial advisor is spending your money. Well, Michael Collins and Mayor Kriebel of Ventnor, or Mayor Sarah of Ventnor, or of Brigantine, they're spending your money. They're acting like your financial advisor, you knuckleheads. They're spending your money, and you're saying, yeah, you have the background in spending my money. But this series is amazing, and here is the actual story. And they actually took the paywall off of it because they were so they knew how important this was. So if I zoom in a little bit, It says, Mr. Maury, I think that's from Maury Amusements in Wildwood. He requests on audio recordings, the meeting times are rebuffed. And the editor's note says, the Herald has lifted the paywall for this story, providing critical information to readers. I get a little lost when I'm doing all this stuff. So here's the score.
I like that table because I love tables like that. I think, yes, a table like that should be done for Atlantic County. So are you going to do a table like that or no?
Well, I kind of have done it unofficially, but this is where they actually create one. So this is what the Cape May County Commissioners and the actual newspaper, the Cape May County Herald, the Cape May Herald, this is what they're recommending. And Cher, you're probably going to say, hey, weren't you talking about that for years?
For years.
Ad nauseum. So here's what they're requesting. Here's what the paper says. You have to have remote access to live meetings. Can the public easily access and watch live online video of commission meetings? In Brigantine, that answer, I'm sorry, in Margate, that answer is a resounding no. But the newspaper says you have to have that. Number 2, bad meeting times. Are the meetings held during business hours, 9 to 5, when people really don't have the time to leave work to go? It's not easy to attend or participate in. So the meeting times. Is the video of the meeting available within 24 hours on YouTube? Video is preferable to an audio-only recording. Think about that. Video is preferable to audio-only recording. And we know of mayors that will not do it. I even asked Mayor Tim Kriebel of Ventnor, why are you not allowing live video of recreation meetings? That's a big part of the budget. He goes, no, we can't afford it. And I go, well, why are you having these meetings for recreation in Ventnor at some weird location that nobody knows about? He gave me a convoluted answer, but it really should be at City Hall where all the equipment is for Zoom. They don't want you to know how they're spending your money. So video is preferable to an audio-only recording. Remote participation. Can the public ask questions and make comments via Zoom? In Brigantine, you can't. In Ventnor, you can. In Atlantic City, you can. In Margate, you cannot. Margate's one of the worst offenders here. Are the meeting documents available before the meeting? A full draft available online prior to meeting? All the stuff, ordinances, resolutions, blueprints, renderings, in easy to understand language. And here may be the most important thing that everybody is always shocked at. Are the meeting minutes, are the public comments included in all meeting minutes? So when people get up there and speak for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, is their transcript, is their audio a part of the meeting minutes? In most towns, that answer is no. But that's where all the excitement is during public comments. So pretty amazing story here from the Cape May County Herald, huh?
It's interesting. I want to tell you something. I was just yesterday on the Zoom meeting for our previous meeting in Atlantic City. And it was very interesting. Well, first of all, one of the things, you say you have Zoom and people can participate, but I know several people that were trying to get in onto the meeting in Atlantic City last September, and they were blocked from the meeting and therefore couldn't provide comments. So you have the appearance of transparency, yet there's still a level of control where you're blocking people, not letting them participate, which is something interesting. And then also from the meeting, you could see that the council aren't even paying attention. They're on their phone. They're talking to each other while people are giving public comments, which is incredibly rude. Just wanted to make those couple of comments about this facade of meeting transparency. And no, I never see public comment on meeting minutes, at least the ones I've looked at. It's just basically takes the agenda, and then the meeting minutes just summarizes, who voted for what on the resolutions and ordinances. No summary of public comment, which, like you said, is the most important part a lot of times.
If I could ask you a question, when you, over the years, put money into your retirement account, you have a financial advisor, somebody who's certified, they keep up to date with all their certifications because they're managing all of your money, all of our money, right? That's an important person, right, Cher? A financial advisor?
Very important.
So but you trust them, but you know that they are well-versed, that they are official, they're certified, they got all the background, right?
Yes, they have the
So
credentials to manage your money. Correct.
you're at basically your assets, your cash, your money, whatever it
Right.
might be. But when it comes to a taxpayer with a home, and you have a home in Margate, you're paying taxes to a small group of people inside City Hall who then decide how to whack up or use your money. Are they well certified to be able to represent your best interests? Because you have to really look at the mayor of Margate, of Atlantic City, of Brigantine, of Ventnor, of Margate, whatever. You have to look at the mayor of these towns and the leadership of these towns as your financial advisor. They're spending your money on stuff. But isn't it interesting how we just sit back and think that they have all the skills? Like, how do you wake up one morning and say, I'm going to use $3 million of Sherry's tax dollars and everybody else's tax dollars to buy a contaminated gas station? And we let that slide. Would you ever let your financial advisor say, hey, Sherry, I hope you don't mind I do this. I'm going to take all of your portfolio and put it into Bitcoin.
No.
Well, you would maybe say, how about put a little bit in? My point is this, everybody who's listening and watching, and everybody is commenting right now. You have to look at the leadership of your towns like the same way as you look at your financial advisor. If that financial advisor sucks, doesn't get back to you, can't explain how he's whacking up and dealing with your money and your assets, you got to fire him. But for some reason, you're taking your entire life savings and you're coming down to Margate or Brigantine or Ventnor, and you're keeping your fingers crossed that the mayor of these towns, they have the smarts to how to best spend your money to make sure there's not a total meltdown of the real estate market. When I say that, I just think that a lot of these houses, these home valuations are inflated. A lot of it because of phony baloney stuff. People parking their money in these houses, building short-term rentals, illegal short-term rentals in residential neighborhoods, right? Maybe the house next door to you is not properly insured for second homeowners or for short-term rentals. So something to think about, but it is nice. You feel vindicated a little bit because you've been hearing me harping about transparency for years, and everybody just blows it off. All the mayors blow it off, and people are afraid to confront the mayors of these towns. But I'm telling you, it's nice to see the Cape May County Herald. The Cape May County Herald does a great series here. So much of a great series where they lowered the paywall so that more people can read this. I believe that transparency will truly get this seashore market rocking. And don't believe the builders about prices of homes, all that stuff. You really have to take better control of your monies.
Can we talk about the award that the Margate Green team had? And I do have a little bit of an update on that as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go
there. Then I think we should probably wrap it up after that.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done, but let me bring it. Here we go. That's a lovely photo of you. Look at you. And then there's want me to run this real quick? It's only a little over a minute, so we do a quick background because this is really important. Here we go. And turn your mic off, okay?
Greenberg.
This is NBC 10 News.
A Jersey Shore community is taking a stand against uncontained waste at home construction sites and the pollution that the waste brings.
The action comes as developers continue to produce waves of new homes to keep up with soaring demand. NBC 10 Jersey Shore Bureau reporter Ted Greenberg has more.
In practically every shore town, you don't have to look far to see big new homes going up.
Every block has multiple new construction sites.
All that building, though, is fueling worries about a growing amount of pollution spreading beyond the work sites.
This is the stuff that we're talking about. Looks like snow, and it's not. These are plastics. These are microcontaminants. I kayak, and I can see it floating in the bay.
Members of the Sustainable Margate Green Team have been sounding the alarm about uncontained construction waste.
Be conscious of it. Be aware of it.
And urging the city to take action.
It's basically going in the air, in the ground, and in our stormwater. It's not being contained.
Never had any information on, it being an issue.
Local leaders in Margate are crafting a new law requiring contractors to take steps to keep debris contained. and out of the environment.
We don't want them cutting the material out in the middle of the street and getting it all over.
We look to see if any other communities have anything like this. We didn't find anything, so we may be the first.
The city is also set to distribute these flyers to construction crews. They include lists of recommended practices in both English and Spanish.
I'm all for it. Whatever guidelines we have to follow, we're all for it. We clean up our sites every day. We do the best to keep it clean.
The construction's very positive for our area. We're just asking them to be responsible.
New efforts building towards a sustainably cleaner future. Ted Greenberg, NBC 10 News.
I love that piece. It was a great piece by Ted, and you deserve a lot of the credit for everything that's happened. And I think it was also covered, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I missed that. Yeah, so I'm sorry, Cher. What?
So
give me the update here. Yeah.
So what I wanted to say, so the Green Team is a part of Sustainable Jersey. Sustainable Jersey, obviously, are all the green teams throughout New Jersey. So the Margate Green Team got a Creativity and Innovation Award for our work in this, where we basically, it was last October, it was only a little over a year ago, where we introduced an ordinance, started in the city of Margate, for contractors. So you saw all that white, white microplastics that we call construction snow. That is not good stuff. That is bad. It's forever plastics, and it gets everywhere, and it wreaks havoc on a human's health and the environment. So the ordinance states that contractors are supposed to contain it. You're supposed to put a hood over your saw. There's a vacuum attachment. You should have a tarp underneath. Instead of going in the sand and the dirt, there should have been a tarp under there. That white powder should not be in that dirt. When it goes in the stormwater, what a lot of people don't realize, where that stormwater goes, it doesn't go to some magic place where it gets cleaned up. It goes into the bay and the ocean. It gets into the food supply. It goes up in the air. I mean, it is not good. So we have this containment ordinance. We call it construction pollution ordinance. But this has been spreading in multiple municipalities. We got about 20 of them. Some of them have already made ordinances. Longport has as an ordinance. Ventnor has an ordinance. Last night, I was at Brigantine, and I presented it to the city council and the mayor, and they're like all for it. They're going to put it in place in Brigantine. We have it in Summers Point, Northfield, Egg
Yeah,
Harbor City.
I tried to call in last night when you were doing the Brigantine public comment, and they told me, no, we don't take live phone calls. I'm just saying,
you're joking, right?
I wanted to ask a question, but I forgot that Mayor Vincera of Brigantine prohibits remote public comment. So I'm sorry, I would have supported you with that.
All right, stop. Actually, I know you have some issues with.
Now listen, it's not an issue. It's the fact that these towns have scared everybody. Nobody wants to bring up the fact that taxpayers.
Are we back on transparency? We're talking.
Well, the transparent. Listen. We wouldn't be talking about all your great work with microplastics unless the internet existed, because you'd have to rely on the Press of Atlantic City or a local Down Beach pilot newspaper to always cover it. So just think about that. The internet provides transparency, so you and I can do a radio or TV show about this, because it really didn't happen. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I just want to remind you that everything here is relevant. If you don't have transparency, you have nothing. And so I'll beat that. I'll beat that horse. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So anyway, we also, in addition to the Margate Green Team or Sustainable Margate pushing this through other municipalities, we have some major organizations that have joined this battle with us. We have a group called Beyond Plastics with Brian Thompson. We have South Jersey Surfrider Foundation that have also helped our fight. We have, and then Sustainable Jersey. So what we're seeing is this idea spreading to lots of municipalities, taking it upon themselves, but eventually it's going to go up to the state level and possibly the federal level. You know, there's already stormwater ordinances. This is kind of piggybacks on that. in a way. So we're just within a year, we're just seeing so much growth. And I don't know if you realize, but the Margate Green team was the first to have a ban on the balloons, releasing balloons in the air. Like that came out of our small little town of Margate, and we are all volunteers in the Green team. We don't get paid. We're not on city payroll. We are all 100% volunteers, but I just wanted to highlight the work we're doing. And Steve Giuseppe, he's our chair, and he's the one you saw in the video with me. Yeah, he's incredible, and he works tirelessly on this.
And do you think there's enough enforcement? Enforcement's tough. On a scale of 1 to 10, is enforcement working the way that you would have hoped?
It was when Jimmy was full-time, Jimmy Galantino. He was also in that video. He is now part-time in the city. When he was full-time, someone would call me or call Jimmy, and we'd send him an email and a text with a picture and say, go to this work
Jimmy
site.
is the construction official?
Yes, he's.
And do we know why he's now part-time? Because he's a pro, he's a veteran. He's the one that got injured on a faulty work site. Why did Jimmy get cut back to part-time?
I don't know. I actually asked. I don't know. So we have part-time people. So one of the things Steve and I are going to do regarding enforcement, and it's a great question, and it's a very important question. And whenever I go to other municipalities, I always tell them, you need to think about enforcement. You need a leader who's going to go to these work sites and going to talk to the workers and tell them what they need to do, not to say, hey, keep the microplastics out of, the soil. So Steve and I reached out to Commissioner Blumberg, and we told him we want to sit down with him and come up with a plan, and maybe we'll do some training on builders and a packet that whoever goes out, because I don't know if you realize, but the police, law enforcement is part of enforcement of this too, because if there's a call about a work site on a weekend, you call the police. You're supposed to call the police. They're the ones that are supposed to enforce these ordinances.
So why did you have a sit down with Maury Blumberg? Why did you choose him, since his focus is revenue and finance?
Because the Mayor Collins told me, and by the way, Mayor Collins was there the day we accepted our award, that he's the one responsible for enforcement. And
wait. Maury is responsible for enforcement.
I think he has the building under him, the building department.
But nobody really truly knows, because.
Well, if Mayor Collins tells me that Commissioner Blumberg is the person I need to talk to about enforcement, then I go to who he tells me.
So has Maury been able to stop what he sees as bad acting on a site?
We didn't sit down with him yet. We requested the meeting, and the last meeting when I was there, he says, "Oh, I got your email. I'll get back to you on a date where we could get together."
Because Maury probably is the most environmentally sensitive guy, because he's pro wind turbines. So we disagree with him on that, but he seems to be the greenie of all three. He's the one that cares most about the environment, I think. Kind of, sort of.
I will tell you, when we proposed this contractor pollution ordinance, he's the one that made it a resolution instead of an ordinance, because he's the one that said, we have a lot of ordinances, but we need to enforce them. He's the one that said, I don't want another ordinance on the book without enforcement. And that's why they did it as a resolution first.
And a resolution is just a feel good, hey, we're going to do our best.
I call it, like in real estate terms, it's a letter of intent versus a contract. Yes, it's like, this is what we want to do. This is our intent, but there's no teeth behind. However, I will say there can be fines issued under the stormwater ordinance that's already in place. And there's a trash ordinance about pollution. So you can issue fines. So here's the thing with enforcement. When Jimmy was there full-time and he would go out, he was able to issue fines. But now you have these part-time people And the last one I called, I said, these people need a fine. I called him 3 times about one work site. And he goes, I can't issue a fine because I'm not licensed inspector or something like that. I don't know. He couldn't issue a fine. So enforcement is definitely a big problem. Yeah, look at that.
Do you think
horrible.
that there was a fine for this project? This is a big mess.
No.
Yeah. So my point is that, ordinances and resolutions are fine, but selective, they call it selective enforcement, don't they? And, another thing is, I know that dirty work sites are bad, but when I see unsecured work sites where there's multiple ladders, where there's open space that you can get into, if you're a kid, you're goofing around. This is from a few weeks, maybe 2 weeks ago. This is right off the boardwalk. When I see ladders, unsecured ladders, that kind of freaks me out because they can easily be used to get into a second floor window because it's 3/4 of the town is empty. No one's around. It's dark. This is Ventnor. So Ventnor I shake my head because I can't believe they let this happen. Dirty, unsecured, dangerous work sites with scaffolding. That's crazy. That's how Jimmy Agostino, Jimmy, which I get them all mixed up. Galantino.
Yeah.
He fell. He's a veteran. He fell.
Well, he fell through an elevator shaft that was clearly not secure. But anyway, yes, enforcement's a big issue, but there's obviously a lot of issues related to the builders, which when I sit down with Commissioner Blumberg, I think that should all be addressed. How the safety of work sites, how secure the work sites are, and then also talking about when the workers are actually there, not cutting and grinding this stuff so it goes all over the place. And
I really don't see Maury being in charge of this. I just think Mayor Collins said, no, go talk to Maury. I don't think Maury truly is in charge, but what do you think?
I do, which is probably why he brought up the whole question of enforcement to begin with.
But he could be easily overruled, right?
Well, he's one of 3. So if you get 2 to 1, you get 2 to 1. You have a majority.
And
anyway,
I know.
I'll give you an update when I have that meeting.
I love putting you on the spot because this is very common in small Jersey Shore towns because we're all in a small community. We know everybody. We don't want to step on toes. We don't want to be disrespectful because chances are the person spending your money or the elected official lives across the street from you. And so it's very awkward. That's, but unfortunately, but if you truly peeled back the onion, you'd realize that they're acting like your financial advisor and they're doing things that really you would question your financial advisor. And I can't get over the fact that no matter, even if 99% of Margate was against the contaminated gas station purchase, he still went ahead anyway. And number 2, if nobody brings up the fact that the Commissioner of Revenue and Finance is Maury Blumberg, and he knows the least about revenue and finance when it comes to Margate, shame on you, Margate. Shame on you, because you deserve everything that's coming. You actually allow Maury gets about 30 grand a year to do, I don't know what he does, but he doesn't get along with his 2 colleagues. He's not in that car at that parade. That's shameful. And
he should have been in that car. I mean, that's a big statement.
Maury, step up. You have a lot of people that don't always agree with you, but they like you because you're an honorable guy. They might disagree with you, but we always believe you talk from the heart, where other commissioners, other council people, they are not trustworthy because you compare what they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. But listen, anybody that's watching, and there's a lot of people that watch right now, the Down Beach Buzz podcast, you got to ask the question, why is Maury Blumberg the Commissioner of Revenue and Finance, but he has the least amount of knowledge when it comes to money? And Maury, you got to step up too. You got to say, are we truly going out to bid? And why is it always Colmar Hardware? Why? Are they giving us the best prices? Are they giving us the best prices? Are they giving us the best prices? That's all.
Maury is not Commissioner Blumberg is not afraid to speak up. I've been to enough meetings. He is not afraid to speak up. And
I've seen
I
that. Yeah.
respect that. Yes, he will speak up and get his opinion on record. But anyway, we're back to transparency again, aren't we? You just can't let it go. We were talking about the great work of the Sustainable Margate.
Yeah, but you kept on beating that drum for years, and
Well,
it
not
worked.
really. I mean, it was first introduced. It was October of 2023. I mean, it's only been a year. Maybe it feels like years to you because I do bring it up a lot.
Yeah.
But this just started a year ago, and it's already has tremendous momentum. And like I said, all these other groups have joined the fight. So like this is commonplace. And one other thing I just want to say about it, like the biggest thing is awareness. I have, like a friend of mine said to me when she walks her dog, and she walked by a site that had all this white construction snow around it. And she said, I never would have thought anything about it, but now it's sickening for me to look at. And once people are aware, like the builder in the video, he's like, I just didn't know. And once you're aware, it's like you can't unring a bell. Like that's the biggest step forward, is the awareness that people realize this is not good. You need to contain this. You need to dispose of it. And you can't just let it go all over the place while you're doing your construction. So anyway, that's why I mention it. I like to keep creating the awareness. And if anybody sees a work site, they could call me at 609-287-1795. Text me, try to take pictures, and we will get someone to go there and get the contractor straight. One of the other things that the city was concerned about, they don't want me or some average person going to a site and saying something, because people can get very nasty and irate, and like you don't want to be a target. So
that is correct. So I totally feel you. But did you know there's other podcasters talking about all the great work you're doing, Sherry? Have you seen this? This is amazing. Another talk show is talking about how you were just awesome.
So get this, Margate's Green Team.
Margate's Green Team.
Yeah, they're making headlines. We are diving deep into their sustainability success story.
They're being recognized. They just won an award from Sustainable Jersey.
Oh, wow.
Which is a pretty prestigious nod for any town trying to go green.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Big deal.
And it really does speak to the impact that they're having.
Sustainability.
Yeah, and trust me, this is not your average plant a tree kind of thing.
No, not at all.
Getting media spotlight. What's even cooler is what they actually did to win this thing.
Yeah, what did they do? Like, how did they, what were the steps involved?
Yeah, exactly.
Because they weren't just recognized for, good intentions.
Now, the brains behind a lot of this is Sherry Lilienfeld.
Sherry Lilienfeld.
And who, by the way, is not your typical environmental activist.
Right.
She's a well-known real estate broker.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Okay, but here's the kicker.
Okay, what's the kicker?
She also has a background in chemical engineering.
Whoa, that's a unique combination.
Right.
It makes you wonder if like her understanding of chemical processes like gave her a different perspective on construction's environmental impact.
You would think so, right?
Yeah.
It's no wonder she spearheaded Margate's construction pollution ordinance. From what I gathered, it requires developers to implement erosion control measures during construction.
Erosion control.
Like things like silt fencing, prevent runoff from polluting waterways.
Yeah, so that's a big one.
Also, mandates proper disposal of construction waste, which can be a major source of contamination.
Well, yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. It's
protecting the water quality, the air quality.
Absolutely.
And it looks like this issue was important enough to attract the attention of the media.
NBC 10's Ted Greenberg even did a whole segment on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting that they chose like a real estate broker to kind of lead this initiative.
Yeah.
Shows they're thinking strategically about how to engage like the development community in sustainability.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
What were the specific concerns that sparked this whole movement in Margate?
Have other communities done this before?
And what can we learn from that?
Think about it.
What are the potential environmental concerns related to construction in your own community? Could you benefit from a similar ordinance?
Good question.
Maybe this deep dive has inspired you to find out.
Inspired you to take action.
Yeah.
That's what we like.
Okay, that was AI, but
I know. I was going to say, which
even-
AI? They had it a little It was okay, but
Even AI loves Sherry Lillienfeld, and even these computers that have no real brains, they just know how awesome this chemical engineer activist is all about, right? And,
Yep. You know, engineers, like, we're trained to solve problems. Problem was a construction pollution at work sites, and the answer is really simple. Just contain it. It's so simple. It's
well, you
it's
and I have the same thought process. You're focused on solutions, real solutions with your engineering background. And I know for a fact that with proper communication, people can be informed and they can make good decisions about stuff. And that's
true.
called transparency. So that's why we sometimes battle it out. But quite frankly, the common core between both of us is transparency allows us to accomplish some really important things for the community.
Well, because the people of the community probably have the answers if you just take the time to listen. And I want to say this too. I do really hope that more people show up. I mean, I know you want it on Zoom and everything, but it is important that people come to the bi-monthly council or commissioners meetings in their communities. It's really, really important. I tell you, I've learned so much when I started doing that. I had never been to a commissioners meeting before.
And why did you never? Why were you never a part of those meetings? Why?
Because I didn't even realize when they were. Like, because yes, I had to go on the website and think about it because I had this idea. Okay, what do I do with this idea? Oh, I should go to a commissioners meeting. Okay, when's the commissioners meeting? But yeah, more people need to show up, and you are great about making people aware. And I learned so much at those commissioners meetings, and it's interesting going to different municipalities, seeing how they run their meetings differently. It's also very interesting between Margate and Atlantic City, or I've been to EHT meetings and Brigantine. Yeah, it's very interesting to me.
So when your financial advisor is going to be, delegating your millions, you would ask for a sheet to see how he's whacking up and where he's putting each investment. You want to know how much of your millions are going to this company, this company, this company, right?
Yes.
That's called full transparency with your,
Yes.
yeah, you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, well, we're not going there again because I do have to go now, and I think our viewers do too. It's been an hour. So thank you so much for bi-weekly podcasts.
And did you fix your redirect with the new realtysherry.com? Because I fixed it on the banner ad, so I think you might have to do it as well.
I'll check it out.
Your new website, realtysherry.com. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I'll check it out. I've been a little busy lately, as you know,
I know.
family issues. So, but all right. Thank you. You have a great day.
Tell Maury I said hi. And I got a lot of kisses the last time we saw each other, so thank you for that. Okay?
Okay.
Very good. All right. Have a good time. Whatever